In this podcast episode, Joe Rogan hosts Arsenio Hall, and they engage in a wide-ranging conversation touching on comedy, entertainment, personal habits, politics, mental health, music, and life experiences. The dialogue covers Hall's career, his views on creativity and performance, behind-the-scenes stories from the comedy and television world, reflections on the cultural shifts over the decades, and the evolving state of society and media. Arsenio Hall opens up about the nature of comedy as an art form that comes alive in front of an audience. He emphasizes the importance of experimenting on stage and the freedom to try things that sometimes bomb or succeed unexpectedly. Both Hall and Rogan highlight how stand-up comedy requires constant risk-taking and evolution, often building material gradually through trial and error during performances. Damon Wayans and Dave Chappelle are mentioned as comedians who archive their sets and constantly refine their work. Hall talks about performing regularly at the Mothership, his comedy club, and how that space embodies a legendary refuge where comedians can hone their craft. They discuss the importance of green rooms as sanctuaries for performers and the necessity of vetting to maintain a comfortable atmosphere. The conversation delves into the history of clubs like the Comedy Store and its influence on stand-up comedy. Hall pays tribute to Mitzi Shore, the matriarch who ran the Comedy Store and helped shape the careers of many comics by allowing them autonomy to grow. He recalls how the club environment fostered freedom and creativity and fostered legends like Richard Pryor and Paul Mooney. Hall underlines how the club's policies adapted over time, such as the introduction of phone bags to protect performers from unwanted recordings and distractions. They touch on the shift in club culture from the 80s and 90s to today, including changes in audience engagement and how younger generations consume comedy through digital platforms. Hall and Rogan discuss their personal habits with substances such as marijuana, alcohol, and stimulants in relation to performance and creativity. Hall describes how smoking weed before workouts or martial arts training enhances his body awareness and coordination. They both acknowledge that drugs affect people differently, some for the better creatively, some negatively, and caution against substances like cocaine and Adderall due to addiction risks and adverse effects. Hall recalls his failed attempt to perform high on stage, leading to memory lapses. Rogan discusses creatine as a supplement beneficial for both physical stamina and cognitive function, especially useful in mitigating sleep deprivation. They agree on the importance of sleep for peak mental performance and highlight the toll of sleep deprivation on memory and delivery. At age 70, Hall reflects on aging and maintaining his health and vitality. He jokes about the effectiveness of creatine and his ongoing commitment to balance work and rest. Hall talks candidly about learning to simplify his life, scaling down his staff, and finding happiness in a less complicated existence free from excessive material burdens. He recounts meeting legendary comedian Richard Pryor early in his career and the enduring lessons on happiness and success Pryor imparted, particularly appreciating the joy found in simple living. Hall reveals he has no interest in acting due to the long hours and process, but still enjoys performing stand-up regularly. The discussion shifts to Hall's landmark late-night talk show and its revolutionary influence on television. Hall explains how he eliminated the traditional desk format, fostering a more casual and organic interaction with guests, which in turn made the show more accessible and enjoyable. He notes the challenge in politics of guest appearances and how his show's openness allowed for a diversity of voices and topics, from musicians to politicians like Bill Clinton and Tupac Shakur. He recounts memorable moments like Clinton playing the saxophone as a campaign strategy, illustrating television's power in politics. Hall also comments on the decline of traditional late-night television amid streaming services and social media's rise, remarking on the fragmented media landscape and shorter attention spans. Hall shares his thoughts on the current political climate, describing himself as politically homeless and critical of both major parties for their rigid ideologies and corruption. He reflects on the legacy of Bill Clinton's presidency, noting balanced budgets and moderate stances that defy today's polarized politics. Hall condemns the influence of money in politics as fueling systemic problems and insider trading among politicians. There is particular frustration regarding unaccountability in scandals like Jeffrey Epstein's. Hall stresses the role of media distractions that divert public attention from serious issues, what he calls misdirection in politics. He discusses how polarization leads to tribalism, akin to sports rivalries, further fragmenting societal discourse. The episode explores the transformation of media consumption from the days of 3 TV channels signing off at night to today's endless streaming and social platforms. Hall reminisces about the launch of Fox as a disruptive network and the golden age of shows like Soul Train and Saturday Night Fever that shaped dance culture. He discusses how family-oriented platforms like TikTok have replaced traditional social venues like clubs as dominant sources for dance trends. The conversation also touches on YouTube's appeal for short content and how Hall himself prefers quick, varied viewing without commercials. There is mutual appreciation for documentary storytelling and how new platforms allow creators more freedom. As a lifelong music lover, Hall shares personal stories of encounters with legendary artists such as Miles Davis and Quincy Jones. He compares the improvisational nature of jazz to the creative spontaneity required in comedy. He describes hearing studio demos from Quincy Jones featuring Sheila E.'s innovative percussion and the birth of Michael Jackson's iconic Off the Wall album, highlighting the layers and complexity behind great music. Hall recalls the revolutionary spirit and business savvy of Prince, including his bold moves against exploitative record contracts and his ability to blend performance with social commentary. There are anecdotes about Prince's humor and unique persona, underscoring the camaraderie between entertainers across disciplines. Hall offers candid glimpses into his life, from growing up as a latchkey child and starting as a magician to experiencing setbacks like losing his home to fire. He talks about the resilience developed from these early struggles and how pain often fuels great comedy. He recounts encounters with celebrities like O.J. Simpson, sharing insights into complicated figures shaped by fame and tragedy. Hall also recalls intimate moments watching Rodney Dangerfield perform in his later years with his wife feeding him lines backstage, a testament to dedication and love in show business. The dialogue includes humorous reflections on technology's evolution from landlines to smartphones and the challenges of parenting in the digital age. Closing the conversation, Hall expresses enthusiasm about continuing to perform live, acknowledging the unique challenge and thrill of live specials. He emphasizes preparation as crucial to successfully facing the pressure of live audiences and the global reach of streaming. Both hosts reflect on the importance of embracing fear for growth and creative vitality while avoiding destructive behaviors like cocaine use. Hall speaks highly of Byron Allen's success in syndication and the shifting landscape where traditional network shows become less central, replaced by varied content formats and platforms. He invites Rogan to visit his Mothership Club in Austin, underscoring a shared passion for the art of comedy and genuine conversations.